Greetings, Benjamin J. from Ben's Trains with another in the series. Well, another delivery from eBay. This is a Marx 994 that just arrived. It was due here Wednesday and then updated till Thursday, and it just arrived today. Anyway, I just opened the box and it is full of styrofoam peanuts. So I've got to do a quick transfer here before I can pull this thing out, otherwise it makes an absolute mess. So I've already started unpacking this stuff. Now it's packed well, there's no doubt. The thing is just absolutely full, literally full of styrofoam peanuts. These things are really difficult to unpack without making a mess. All right, hold on here. All right, here's the locomotive. All right, let's get this out of the way. All right, so a 994. I picked this up on eBay for 15 bucks, and it looked to be in fairly decent condition. Now that's the cutoff point. I won't spend more than $15 for a locomotive. And let's see what it looks like. So an original 994. This is 1952, and it is in fairly decent condition. There's no rust on it at all. Let me pull the camera off the tripod and take a look at this. So as you can see, it's in fairly decent condition. Still has a lot of gloss on the paint. Now there is one ding in the paint there. It's bent right there. Now I knew that from the photograph. It was actually mentioned in the description. So it's really easy to straighten this out. This is just a stamping. This is actually the largest locomotive that Marx made. It's bigger than the 333. But it's just a big empty stamping, as you can see, with a standard single reduction motor mounted in it. And as you can see, there's a really small amount of surface rust on the front crossbar. Nothing at all on the tab and slot. Nothing on the motor, nothing on the push rods. A bit of surface rust on one of the domes, and a bit on the bell. But remember, this locomotive is almost 70 years old. So all in all, it's in fairly decent condition. All right, let me grab my oil bottle and let's oil this and see how it runs. So put a big drop of oil on the bearing for the armature. This has got the felt pads. It's always a good idea to actually squish this a couple times, let it soak up some oil. All right, give the motor a turn, flip it over, go to the output shaft, put a big drop of oil on the output shaft itself and that bearing. All right, give it a turn. All right, time for the grand test. So let's see how or if this is going to run. So a Marx 994, 1952, 15 bucks on eBay. So power is on. Let's take this around and see how it runs. Wow. All right, it runs forward and it runs backwards. The E-unit is working absolutely perfectly. No problem at all. And the headlight is working. So obviously it's not going to take very much to get this cleaned up and running on the rail. All right, let's put this on a consist and run it around. Let me get this tripod out of the way. Now I've got a Marx consist set up right here in anticipation of this locomotive. This is 14 Marx cars with a nickel plate road lighted tender. Now this is the original tender for this locomotive. All right, let me get the oil bottle out of the way. Okay, so a Marx 994, 1952, eBay, 15 bucks. Let's see how we do. All right, that's pulling 14 cars. And that's about 60% power right now. And I haven't cleaned the brushes or the armature. There was a wheel spark. So the armature and brushes are dirty, no doubt. But as you can see, this is in fairly decent condition. So $15 on eBay, 1952 in fairly decent condition, still has lots of gloss on the paint, and it's running absolutely perfectly. So no problem with the motor at all. And the E-unit is working with no hesitation. All right, so we know it runs. Let's pull this back off the consist and bring it up here and take a look at it. So it's got one slight bend right there, so I can get that straightened out. It's got some glitches in the paint. And this is mostly storage from sitting someplace, probably in a box with the other cars. Whatever happened to them, I have no idea. But overall, really decent condition. Still a lot of gloss on that paint. So I'll pull the motor out, dunk this down in a sink full of hot soapy water, scrub it with a nice soft brush, touch up the paint. Now, there's one spot there, a couple little dinks in it, but nothing major. And this is going to look actually quite good. And then once I oil these domes, that surface rust will come right off. There's absolutely no rust on the push rods at all. Now, like I said, the 994 is the largest locomotive that Marx made. It's actually bigger than the 333, but it's just a big empty stamping, as you can see. And it has a standard single reduction motor in it. And this one even has what appears to be the original light bulb in it, and it's working. So it was worth the $15, I think. Like I said, that's my cutoff point. I won't spend more than that for a Marx locomotive of any kind. And when I saw this one, it actually looked quite good in the photographs. I mean, it was really glossy. Yes, it's got a bit of paint damage on it, but nothing that can't be fixed in a matter of a minute or so. The nice thing about finding them in this condition with no rust on them is usually 99% of the time it'll run with no problems in the E-unit at all. So the E-unit works absolutely perfectly, and it's absolutely instant. No hesitation, no buzzing, as you can see. So was it worth the $15? I think so. Like I said, that's as high as I will usually go on a Marx locomotive of any kind. All right, put it back on the rail, take this around one more time, then I'll pull it apart and start cleaning it up. So I'll be running this today. So pulling 14 Marx cars with no problem, as you can see. So it's in really decent condition. Get that paint cleaned up, dunk it down into a sink of hot soapy water, scrub it with a brush, clean the armature and the brushes, and this is going to be a really great addition to the collection, no doubt. So I have, I think it's 6 994s now. Anyway, when I saw this one, I figured what the heck, it was worth the $15. It was a buy it now, so I bought it. And in really decent condition. Not perfect, but in really decent condition, as you can see. So I just want to do a video on the unboxing. I'll pull this apart, get it cleaned up. I'll be running this the rest of the day, very likely. I'll do a follow-up on it once I have the armature and the brushes cleaned. But so far, so good. It runs nice, it looks nice. Once it's cleaned up, this is actually going to look really, really good. So just a quick video. As always, if you have any questions, feel free to drop me an email, benstrains@gmail.com. And as always, thank you for watching.